Hey, Gavin.
Hey, Louie.
You're looking particularly devilish today.
And you're looking very pixelated today.
Ladies and gentlemen who are not watching on the Patreon, Gavin is telling no lies. I am zooming in from 2012.
I feel like I should be tipping. I feel like I should be like, are you going to take that shirt off, baby?
Yeah, I'm on Omegle right now. As we all learned at our last episode, I'm not working right now, so I had to turn in my work computer, and now I'm on an older computer. My life is Carly Rae Jepsen, Run Away With Me. Okay, like it is just on a getaway train, but it's really fun. So
that's good. That's the way it should be. Listen, the way you should put it is you're having some well-deserved time off.
Thank you. I deserve. We all deserve. It is just. It's very weird. Like I'm putting my head that way, but it's going the opposite way because these computers are so old. Anyway, I'm so sorry. Welcome to the Mixed Reviews, everyone.
We are a film podcast where we take a film subject such as an actor, director, or a mini genre. We take a month, we read as much as we can, we watch as much as we can, and we give all that information back to you. And then we tell you what we like and what we don't like.
The reviews are, in fact, mixed.
Oh, baby, are they?
Oh, baby, are they?
Baby, are they?
This is a very special episode, Gavin. This is episode 150.
That's 150?
150.
Oh, okay.
50.
Sorry.
50.
It's, sorry, math.
50.
I'm 150 and I kick. This is an amazing milestone for us. We've been doing this for quite some time. The show has changed in many variations since our very first episode. I listened to our very first episode in preparation for this. We used to have no format. We used to record in person. We used to do this bi-weekly because we were crazy.
I remember that we did it in my first apartment here in New York.
Yes.
I believe we were just sitting on my orange couch.
Yep.
With a microphone between us.
Mm-hmm.
Raw dogging, let's make a podcast.
I will say, it sounds pretty good still.
I was going to say, I listened back to a bit of it, and I was like, okay, first of all, we had the banter down since day one. I remember also after being like, what if we had I don't know, segments, structure, a roadmap to what we're doing on the show? And you were like, I'm
listening intently.
Yes. You're like, well, I've never thought of that. Imagine structure for a show.
Weird.
But yeah, it's been, I was doing the math. So I've been in New York. This is my 8th year in the city. I'll be celebrating in November. I think we must have started in half a year. So we're close to 8 years now of doing this.
Yes. Yeah. I believe it was March of 2017.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yep.
Yeah.
So, honey, we've been around the block.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Back again. But okay, let's take a pause on all that because we're going to revisit that for this episode. But we have a couple of old business things to handle first. Gavin, tell the girlies they got to go vote for us.
They got to go vote for us. I mean, if you've loved our 150 episodes and any bonus episode we've done in between, any of the stuff on our Patreon, all that good stuff, we would love for you to go to the podcastawards.com for the Listener's Choice, Viewers' Choice Podcast Awards. I'm going to read some copy that our lovely friend David over at the Glitterjaw Queer Podcast Collective, a podcast collective we are a proud member of, wrote for us. Last episode we put in his read. I was informed by him that if we did that again, he would be destroying himself.
This would be the last episode of the Mixed Reviews.
Yes.
The show's been canceled.
So here goes some copy that I'm reading from my phone if you're watching on Patreon. This year, Glitterjaw is sponsoring the Podcast Awards, and you, the listeners, can nominate our friends and fellow Glitterjaw Collective show, The Mixed Reviews. Oh, that's us. That's us. I was supposed to personalize this. I think this is as personal as I get. For consideration in the film and TV category, please just take 30 seconds and go to podcastawards.com and nominate The Mixed Reviews. That's it. It's
That's it.
very simple. It requires you to sign up with an email. My mom already asked me, do you have to pay money? No, you do not. You just sign up for an email. You can vote for us in the film and TV category at podcastawards.com. I believe there's also like a general category that we're nominated in. I think everybody is sort of nominated in that as well. Feel free to vote for us there too. But really what we want is that TV film. We want that award.
That's the one, girls. That's the goal. But this will be the last opportunity for everyone to go
yes,
and nominate us.
The nomination category only extends through the month of July. It's currently July 2024. For those of you who are listening in the future, for those of you who are listening in the past, how are you doing that? Are you time travelers? I don't like it.
Are you the kids from Runaways? What's going on?
Yeah. Gert?
Gert, it's Gert.
It's Gert.
Oh, she died.
She did, but then she came back. So
that's true.
Spoilers
Chase.
for yeah. Oh, I fucking love Chase. Hey,
Like,
you
no.
want to talk about himbos?
Yeah. Remember when Runaways was good? Like,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
When it was good, it was real good.
Yeah, absolutely. Though I did Rainbow Rowell.
Oh yeah,
You introduced me to. Just did a run on it that was. Chef's kiss. Like, really great. Anyways, I digress. We
in alternate
need
universe, me and Gavin are hosting like a comic book podcast.
Yes.
is the truth of this.
But we still need you to go vote at podcastawards.com. Vote for us in the film and TV category. We're called the Mixed Reviews, if you don't know what show you're listening to. So
the Sir Mixed Reviews, if you're nasty. I don't know. I just made that up really quickly. Also shout
correct.
Also shout out to Gavin's Brat themed drink tonight, everyone.
Yeah.
It is Brat Summer. We're here.
First, what you do is you take an apple and you split it down symmetrical lines.
Wow, yeah, rotten to the core. Our other old business to take care of is we asked you guys to go online and vote for your favorite Jodie Foster movie for our last episode, for our Queer Pride Month episode. And
also, speaking of listener's choice, an episode you decided on.
Correct. That was such a fun episode. I feel like I watched a lot of movies that I had never watched before.
We'll never watch again.
Nell, I'm so sorry, sweetie, but I will not be watching you again. But here are the results. Kind of like a stomping of the competition. We had in last place Panic Room 9%, Freaky Friday with 10%, my pick Contact coming in at 18%. And then Gavin's pick, Silence of the Lambs, running away with it with 63%. What I'm taking away from this, though, Case Sully54 left a comment that said, "God, that's a good list." And I was like, "Yeah, so it is a very good list.
It is.
She is. I mean, the range, the breadth of work, iconic."
Right, and that's the I am actually a little shocked that Contact didn't have a little more fight in it, honestly, in terms of the voting, but. I think you can't go wrong with any of those four. I did see somebody mention they were like Candle Shoe, and it's like, okay, it's a fun movie, but Jodie's best performance
is the nostalgic pick.
Yeah.
But thank you, Jodie, for your service, you little naiad, you, and we'll see you at the next Pride Rally, girl. But okay, getting to this month's episode. Gavin had a very good idea. We talked about this when we were doing our Patreon exclusive where we went and saw Civil War together. Gavin and Louie go to the movies. And Gavin said that movie famously stars Kirsten Dunst. And you mentioned like, oh, our 150 is coming up. And I think we should redo our first episode, which was on Kirsten Dunst. And I remember when we were conceiving this project, we were like, oh, well, like, who should we start off with? And one of us must have said Kirsten Dunst.
So in re-listening to the first episode, and this surprised me, and it's not me trying to take credit, but you bring up in the first episode, it was my suggestion. And I have been telling people for years
that it was mine.
It was your suggestion. But I mean, I think that shows how like sort of in sync we were, because she is very deserving of having been our first subject.
Yeah, I think I bring that up just to say that like we were immediately like, oh, fuck yeah, this is exactly the type of person we want to talk about. Someone who has had a long career, someone who's done interesting things, someone who isn't talked about enough, I think, as far as like, great actresses. We're great performers, period. And so, yeah, we were so excited to, cover her. And I think this is a great chance for us to give her the full mixed reviews experience, where we're actually, giving or doing our sections. And then also, the bonus of she's had plenty of films since we last talked about her. I think the last thing that she did, or when we cut off, she had just, I think it was like The Beguiled, maybe?
Yeah, The Beguiled was just coming out. So
right. So there's a lot has happened since then. She got her first Academy Award nomination. She's in Civil War now. Or, there's a lot going on has been going on in her career and life. So I think it is wonderful to revisit.
I wonder if she still doesn't believe that her character in Hidden Figures is a racist. Oh well. That's the other thing I picked up from re-listening to the first episode. I had put in light on sound clips back then, but I put in a clip of her in an interview being like, I don't think she's a racist, but it's like, babe.
Well, we can talk about that when we get there, but like Hidden Figures, like what a fucking conundrum of a movie. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's very Obama era, like everything's fine.
But yeah, I do think I agree with you completely. I think the concept in my brain was that like we just haven't, in listening back to those earlier episodes, even like up through episode 9, which I'm not saying we're redoing anybody else at the moment, but up through like episode 9, before we really had our format, we haven't given those people their flowers the same way that we have everybody else. Because we've spent a lot of time with these subjects, watching these movies, reading interviews, listening to interviews, really sort of forming a full picture of who they are. And once again, it's all supposition on our parts, but we're using first-person sources, i.e. the person themselves. And I think it's cool to be able to do that with somebody, as you said, that has as diversified a career as anybody we could possibly cover. Also, and I didn't put this together during our last episode, and we haven't talked with our audience about what our next episode is. We're really kind of in the middle of this interesting triptych of women who started their career very early and had to grow up in the spotlight and have now turned themselves more towards, more interesting projects and products. And I think Kirsten's sort of the pinnacle of that, because she, the first movies that she's in are so adult and so like such like it requires capital A acting.
Yeah.
And
similar to Jodie.
And similar to Jodie, exactly. And similar to actually our next subject. And I think it's a really fascinating place to be, because each one has grown up in a different decade as well, too. Jodie 70s, 80s, Kirsten like really 90s and 2000s. Our next subject, I'll just spill the beans. Our next subject's going to be Kristen Stewart. And she's in the like, 2000s to 2010s, really coming of age. And it's interesting to see the way that these people sort of, the way that times change and the way that like we consider youth and whatnot in terms of the public eye. But all that being said, that's sort of bigger think. I just think Kirsten is so smart and so brave and so genuine when she performs. She's not somebody, I don't think she's somebody who ever feels like she's like gets real lost in a character. Like,
no.
And she sort of said that in interviews. Actually, one of my favorite interviews was during the Civil War press tour. I think it was Vogue, maybe British Vogue, where somebody asked her about method acting, and she's like, method acting's for men. She's like, what am I going to do? Go home to my 2 kids and be like, oh, I'm a British peasant girl. Like, no, I've got kids to raise. And,
but she's even said that, like, I remember she was interviewing about Melancholia, and she was like, she's like, I'm not carrying that around with me. Are you kidding me? She's like, all I want to do is like, we're in this beautiful location. I want to go to my hotel, like get in the tub, like order room service and like enjoy myself. Like crazy.
And the closest I think she said is in that THR roundtable, that famous THR roundtable where she kind of, the her and the Juliana Margulies of it all. She says, sometimes she writes herself a little note at the end of the night, just being like, and we're putting this away. And that's about it. But like, I can't imagine starting this young being getting that kind of attention that she got, and really like throwing herself into all the roles that she has. And then at the same time being so practical about it and being like, no, it's work. It's a work I love, but it's work.
Yeah. Do you remember what your first movie was of hers?
My very first movie of hers was probably Jumanji. And then if not Jumanji, Interview with the Vampire. Like, and that's the dichotomy of Gavin.
Yeah. Well, that's the dichotomy of Kirsten. Yeah, mine probably was Jumanji, probably like at some like after school program type thing.
That's the thing, is I didn't see Jumanji in the theater either, but I remember seeing Jumanji in school.
Yeah.
So
it's okay, great. Love it. She's so good. I was just about to ask you if you remember who did the rewind for this episode, but like we didn't have that.
None. Nope.
But we did not have that. So that being said, why don't we get into the rewind?